Most days on the calendar pass as a blur of routine, but if we stop and examine a single date, like April 27th, we find a hidden cross-section of time. It is easy to feel disconnected from the past. We often forget that the rights we exercise and the cultural norms we enjoy were established on specific, seemingly ordinary mornings. By tracing the events of this one day through the centuries, we can map out a blueprint of human progress, moving from a single local struggle to movements that span the globe. In 19th century Bengal, formal education was a closed world. Social structures largely confined women to domestic life, leaving a massive gap in access to intellectual training. On April 27, 1878, that boundary moved. Calcutta University formally decided to allow women to sit for their entrance examinations. This policy change allowed women to enter the highest levels of academia for the first time in the region. It led to a rapid increase in the number of female scholars and writers who would go on to lead Bengali public life. This localized victory in Bengal serves as the first circle of our story. It represents an early instance of a barrier falling, a theme of expanding limits that we find mirrored in other major events across this same day in history. April 27th repeatedly highlights the evolution of Bengali thought. In 1881, it marked the birth of the satirist Dada Thakur, and in 1897, the birth of Prabodh Chandra Sen, who would become a master of poetic rhythm and Rabindranath Tagore's work. The region's scientific legacy is also present. On this date in 1935, we record the death of Pramathanath Bose, a geologist whose surveys of mineral deposits were vital to the industrial growth of India. The day also marks the 1960 passing of the writer Rajshekhar Basu, known as Parashuram, and the 1912 birth of Zora Sehgal, the dancer and actress whose career captured the changing face of Indian arts for over 70 years. The convergence of these scientific and artistic minds on a single calendar date illustrates why Bengal was often the engine of modern intellectual life in the region. To understand the full weight of April 27th, we have to look past Bengal's borders and see what was happening in the wider world. In 1526, power was determined by conquest. On this day, Babur defeated the Sultan of Delhi at Panipat, a victory that laid the foundations for the Mughal Empire. By 1994, the nature of power had changed. Black citizens in South Africa were able to vote for the first time in a general election, formally ending the system of apartheid. That same spirit of reclamation continued in 2006, when construction began on the Freedom Tower in New York, a massive project to rebuild on the site of the World Trade Center. Over these centuries, history shows a slow transition in how society functions, moving from power established by the sword to power defined by democratic participation and the physical act of rebuilding after tragedy. Some of our most ambitious, creative, and scientific efforts are recorded on this day. In 1667, John Milton, who was blind and struggling financially, sold the rights to his epic Paradise Lost for just £10. 3 centuries later, the scope of human reach expanded. In 1972, the Apollo 16 mission successfully splashed down in the Pacific, bringing its crew home from the moon's surface. Progress also arrived in smaller, more subtle forms, like in 1981, when Xerox released the first commercial computer mouse to the market. Yet, these achievements share the date with moments that remind us of human vulnerability. In 1989, a catastrophic cyclone hit Bangladesh, resulting in the deaths of hundreds of people. That fragility was seen again in 1993, when a plane crash near Gabon killed every member of the Zambia national football team while they were traveling to a World Cup qualifier. April 27th shows us that our history moves along 2 paths, one defined by our ability to build and explore, and another that remains subject to the sudden, unpredictable forces of nature. When we look at this day, we see the student in Calcutta, the voter in South Africa, and the astronaut in the Pacific all sharing a single point in time. History is rarely a simple chronological line. It is a complex tapestry where art, science, and survival all happen at once. Every time you check the calendar, you are looking at the anniversary of past struggles and breakthroughs that helped build the world you live in now. The timeline is still being written. The only real question is what you will do tomorrow.